All right. Since Derek Carr is about to sign with the New Orleans Saints, I thought we could talk to Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com, Pick Six podcast moderator. And let me ask the question this way. Do the Hurricanes have to play against David Carr twice this year, or do they get to play against David Carr twice this year?
The Hurricanes.
I bet the Hurricanes.
Get to play David Carr.
The Panthers. Maybe they do. Maybe they do.
The Carolina Panthers.
I screwed up the joke. I can't even use that as a promo now. I'm going to do it again. Let me try it again.
Yeah, do it again.
Let me try it one more time. Will Brinson. Do the Hurricane.
Okay, third time's a charm.
One more time.
Dude, you got cane brain.
Do the Panthers have to play against David Carr twice, or do they get to play against David Carr twice?
I think the real question is, do these Saints-Panthers games become revenge games for David Carr? Or are they revenge games for the Panthers? Remember David Carr, famously, a.k.a. Mr. Mittens?
Yes.
I started a website, a Panthers blog based on David Carr's mittens. I was when the internet was young, man. I tell you what.
AOL.
Yeah. Oh, this is just a separate one. And I think I even used .org because MrMittens.com was taken by a mitten company. Nevertheless, I digress. Look, I think I will say this. There's no bigger critic, or nobody's been a bigger critic of Derek Carr than me.
Right.
Until last year, like an idiot, when I finally was like, oh, maybe it'll be good with Josh McDaniels. And he's had his worst year.
Right.
I think that he made a smart signing by going to New Orleans in the sense that his other option was likely going to be the Jets. I don't think the Panthers thing was ever really it's going to materialize just because of their timeline and what they want to do with the draft. I'm blocked by Derek Carr, David Carr, and Darren Carr, who you probably didn't even know. That's a third brother. Maybe you did, but maybe most people didn't. I'm blocked by all these mofos. How do you think these guys? I know I've talked to Raiders beat reporters. Like they have been blocked and unblocked and reblocked and deblocked and tri-blocked. Like it's just a never-ending thing where the guys can't handle any sort of criticism of Derek, and so they get upset about it. How do you think that would work with the Jets? Oh, no, it would be terrible. Plus, the Jets would essentially see, gosh, didn't we once have Matthew Fitzpatrick? Look, I'm screwing up names all day long. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Didn't we have this U.S. Open winner? Never mind. Gosh, I am so bad at this today. It's okay. Look, it's Monday. Look, I think everybody's struggling on a Monday. I would say this, too, about we had a stat. We were doing a Derek Carr emergency podcast. And we decided, by the way, that Derek Carr is the absolute floor for emergency podcasts. Like, that's where we draw the line, is Derek Carr. Derek, you're the median of what
so Jimmy Garoppolo, is he above the Derek Carr line or below the Derek Carr?
I value Jimmy Garoppolo more than Derek Carr. So.
All right, because Jimmy Garoppolo could end up signing. That's, to me, what I've always thought the Jets were going to do is Jimmy Garoppolo in New York. And I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest. But let me ask you about the Panthers. You said they weren't really interested. I didn't think so either, because I firmly believe they are going to draft their quarterback. Yes. My conversation with Scott Fitterer, if I could read between the lines there, really made it seem like their next quarterback was in the draft. They might add a veteran, but it would be a veteran just to hold a place card. There's a very, very obvious layup veteran name for the Carolina Panthers. Did I give it to you? Teddy Bridgewater? Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. Yeah, he started an entire year with Frank Reich in Indianapolis. He's familiar with the system. Great teammate, not afraid to step aside for a rookie if need be. Very popular in the area. You know, you would get you drums some NC State fans if that's what you care about doing. Sure. I think pairing him with one of these quarterbacks coming out of the draft, and I agree with you 100%. I think the real question is going to be, and I think this is a really important question, is where do the Panthers get their quarterback in the draft? Because Scott Fitterer, and this has been true even dating back to you look at where he came from in Seattle. They don't trade up a lot in the like they don't give up those. They don't want to sacrifice high draft picks. The Bears really had a thou doth protest too much situation with the GM and the head coach being the subject matter of both Albert Breer and Peter King's big columns on this Monday. But we're trading it. And Brian Poles told Peter King, he's like, I mean,
I've got a future 2024 first round pick and a 2025 first round pick on the table right now. Why would I take less than that? It's like, no, you don't. Like no, you don't. If you did, you would have taken it. You wouldn't be telling Peter King about it at the combine. You just take it.
Right.
So I think the Bears are really trying to drum up a lot of interest in that. I don't think Scott Fitterer, if he had his druthers, would sacrifice heavy future draft capital to move up and get a pick. I don't think he wanted to go get Matt Corral. I think that was probably the owner. So the question is, and this applies to Indianapolis too, how much, because Chris Ballard does not like to trade up and would not make that sort of deal with the Bears, how much does ownership weigh in on the cost and the location of the move that you make in the draft if you end up making one?
Well, David Tepper has shown tremendous impatience when it comes to the quarterback position. Here's the way I look at it. First of all, kind of the Jalen Carter,
that's a big deal because
I think it's a big deal for the draft. He's not going to drop that far, but like Warren Sapp dropped to where he went, number 6 to Tampa, where he was obviously one of the top 2 players, maybe the best player in that draft, because he had like marijuana in his past, of all things.
Laramie Tunsil with the gas mask bong thing. Can I say that on terrestrial radio?
Sure. What's wrong with gas mask?
Well, bong. I didn't know if bong was something.
Bong. We make noises all the time.
Bong. Bong, bong, bong,
exactly.
bong, bong. Yeah. Sorry. The Carter thing is interesting to me because I don't, this is, again, like, I think the Bears are in a thou doth protest too much situation. They will move if they get the right capital. I don't think they want to drop all the way to 9 because you go from 1 to 9, like you have to get a ton back from the Panthers in order to justify moving out. And he said, Ryan Poles even said, we got 7 guys that we consider like blue chip players. Jalen Carter, with the issues he's got, not that he isn't a blue chip player, it's just like now all of a sudden, like it does, where do these concerns go? Because I don't think anyone saw them coming. Teams weren't aware of them. They found out them like basically in real time as we did. And so if you shrink the number of top tier players or top tier prospects, it then makes it really difficult to justify trading as far down to 9.
Yeah, I don't think they do that. I think the Panthers stay where they are and take the quarterback that's left because honestly, I think that every single day I read about which of these other 4 quarterbacks is the number 1 quarterback. Whether it's Richardson or Levis or Stroud or Young, it's like every day, every other day, there's a different one that's the best of the 4. Honestly, stay where you are. I think one of them will be left at number 9. I could be wrong. And if they're not, trade back and draft Hendon Hooker in the 2nd round and be happy with that. I've read enough about Hendon Hooker where he might end up being the best, even though he might not have the best physical gifts of these guys. And who cares? Either way, it's all a roll of the dice. Let me ask you one thing. We have about 35, 40 seconds left. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to go, and when is he going to tell us what's going on?
Hopefully he does it like, not like 6:30 a.m. on a Friday morning. I still think he's going to play. I think he gets traded to, I've been saying the Raiders all along, so I guess I'll stick with that. It does sound like maybe the Jets are a little more likely. Adam Thielen remarked that he thinks he's going to retire on the NFL Combine broadcast on Saturday. It was interesting for, just he's in the division, current player. Was
Thielen in the darkened room with him? Maybe he was in the room next door. Did they have adjoining?
Adjoining
caves,
mosque, or caves. Yeah, caves is right. I think it's actually a hut. And by the way, I'm having music in my darkness hut. I'm sorry. I'm not just eating food and thinking my thoughts for 4 days. My God. I wouldn't wish that. It
defeats the purpose, man. You have to be alone with your thoughts for 4 days.
I'd be like blindly podcast. I'd be like podcasting, like in the darkness. I didn't even realize it. Just talking to myself about football.
Unbelievable. You're the best, Will Brinson. I appreciate your time, man. I'll talk to you later.